The price of Hearthstone is one of the biggest complaints about the game. Still, Blizzard's a smart company, so they don't set this high price unless they know they can get away with it. Players can vary from free-to-play to spending thousands a year, but instead of the cost, I want to focus more on what you're paying for. The first is popularity, which will bleed into some of the other categories, but this is mostly about the sheer number of people that play this game. With over 70 million registered accounts last year and an unknown but definitely large number of active users, like in the millions, Hearthstone is a big deal. This can be an advantage from something small like a short queue time, to more game content, external products, competitive tournaments, and a recognized brand to convince your friends to play with you. Just don't let them watch the commercials.
My guac.
But popularity is a bit of a double-edged sword. A company of a popular game can lead the way for industry standards, for better or worse. And regardless of how the company got into this position, they also have the power to hold back value or charge its consumers more. Other card games can offer tons of great free rewards and incentives to try to gain and keep users. Hearthstone just doesn't have to try as hard. Depending on your viewpoint of popularity and how Blizzard uses Hearthstone's popularity, this aspect can be an overall benefit or negative for the game. Hearthstone wasn't the first unique online card game, but when it came out, it brought a new aesthetic polish to the genre. Magic the Gathering cards have their own lore and reputation, but Hearthstone was able to take characters from World of Warcraft and give them their own life in a card game. Colorful artwork, interesting visuals, catchy sound cues, and impactful gameplay makes these cards more entertaining. Online card games are no longer just two-dimensional pictures out on a virtual table. The board is alive, the cards have character, and there is far more stimuli to keep people engaged in what is just a gussied-up card game. Gameplay-wise, Hearthstone didn't revolutionize the formula. When collectible card games have already been around for 20 years, it's going to be difficult to innovate. The gameplay is simple, sometimes scoffed at by players of other 200 IQ card games, but it's done well. Now hold up, don't be a little bitch. Yes, I know card texts don't always play as they should. There are imbalances, unfairness, bugs, glitchy interactions, but coming fresh into this game, it's polished. Only when you've put hours and hours into the game, like a lot of the game's players have, do you start to see some of the issues. To an outsider trying Hearthstone for the first time, it's a well-made game. It's not perfect, but it continues to set the standard for visuals, characters, and world building for online card games. And at the same time, it consistently delivers high quality, new, and interesting content with each expansion. So boom, there you go, you can just buy a good product. But the last thing you're really paying for with Hearthstone is something so hard to recreate, and that's a community. It sounds cheesy, but from a consumer and business standpoint, it's one of the most valuable parts of this product. There's an active Reddit, a booming streamer and YouTube scene. It's popular all around the world, there's gatherings, competitive events, and a lot of work goes into creating and sharing for this community. Most of this work coming from sources outside of Blizzard. Hearthstone has a symbiotic relationship with external content creators, because it's free advertising for the game, and creators can also make money. This is the case for a ton of video games, but Hearthstone not only embraced these creators early on, but have continued to closely support them. The Hearthstone team works with content creators, produces elaborate trailers to get people hyped, hosts events, and even responds to Reddit posts. I think their relationship with the community and content creators is another revolutionary approach that has led to a better product and a key to its popularity and success. It makes even more sense to use this approach in a free-to-play card game. Blizzard isn't making money off of casuals who are just playing the game while eating breakfast. They're making money off of people who are invested in exploring the game more and spending cash to get more out of the game. It makes getting hardcore into Hearthstone an easier and positive experience. Diving into any online game, it's a little tough playing against people who have put hours or days into the game. And Hearthstone's not an FPS, it's not about reaction time, it's a card game all about strategy and rules. While the game does a decent job at teaching you the basics, it's super relieving being able to watch Hearthstone Trump's Basics of Hearthstone, Gibbler talking about his vast knowledge of card game design, or Firebat's competitive and memey gameplay. You can learn how to play the game, find fun decks, discover ways to play, which picks to choose in arena, crazy combos, and boom, you're sucked into the best part of Hearthstone. You can chill with a cup of joe, have a stream on in the background while you're trying to get to rank 15 yourself. Sounds like a pretty great Sunday morning to me. There's advantages to all forms of collectible card games. The cost of playing Hearthstone is different for everyone, but so is what you get out of it. I presented you some reasons why I think it's worth playing Hearthstone, but to be honest, if you aren't convinced, I don't blame you. I went from free to play for a year to buying the pre-order to a full-on whale $400 an expansion. And even though it's been my job for the past year and a half, I don't feel the need to spend that kind of money on the game anymore. I'll always be indebted to the Hearthstone community, but you don't have to have all of the cards to have fun playing the game. Honestly, if you can afford $50 for the expansion pre-order and you do your daily quests, then you're probably going to have a positive experience. For me, the amount of fun I have playing the game is pretty much the same whether I spend $50 or $400 in expansion. My advice is to be careful what you craft, be really careful what you disenchant, because that dust is a ripoff, and wait until you know what type of deck you want to play. Again, the point of this video isn't to complain about the crazy price of Hearthstone, it's about what you're paying for. However you value the products that Hearthstone gives in these categories, let that and your financial situation determine how much you want to spend on the game. One final bit of advice for those who can't afford to get the good decks and craft legendaries. I won't forget this, I heard it a while back when I was starting my channel. Firebat said something along the lines of, the best way to get all of the cards in Hearthstone is to get a job. I didn't really follow his advice, instead I just started making YouTube videos, but it's good advice nonetheless. It's a pay-to-win world, control what you can, and pay what you want for Hearthstone. So yeah, this is clearly the best method out there right now. It takes all of the RNG out of the unpredictable card draws you get in this game, and it really focuses more on the skill of the player. Feel free to try out this method. If you want to stick around, we've got some highlights from this Tavern Brawl before I perfected the tactic, but that was the game one only.